What if I told you a lot of what we know about the Middle Ages is historical fan fiction, memes that survived longer than some kingdoms? From royal PR stunts to myths that went viral before printing presses, today we're shredding 29 of the dumbest, stickiest medieval misconceptions. Grab a torch, not for a witch hunt, for fact checks. Stick around. Number 19 flips a fact you've probably repeated. 1. Everyone thought the Earth was flat. No, medieval scholars didn't think ships would tumble off a cosmic pancake. University texts taught a spherical Earth. Sailors used mast-first sightings and curved horizons every day. The real argument was about the size of the planet and the time it would take to cross oceans, not whether gravity was optional. The flat Earth Middle Ages is a later insult, not a medieval belief. 2. People never bathed. Bathhouses weren't mythical. Cities ran public baths for centuries, and households used basins, linen towels, and soap boiled up from animal fats and ash. Hygiene habits shifted with outbreaks and moral panics, but washing hands, faces, and bodies was ordinary, not scandalous. The permanent filth cliché is modern snobbery with a bad nose. 3. Life expectancy was 35, so everyone died at 35. That scary number is a statistical booby trap. Infant mortality drags the average down. Once you survive childhood, odds of hitting your 50s or 60s rise sharply, unless war, famine, or dentistry by prayer gets you first. Cemeteries, wills, and pensions all assume plenty of adults living long enough to complain about taxes. Averages aren't the same thing as the typical adult's lifespan. 4. Peasants never traveled. People moved, just with purpose. Pilgrimages, regional fairs, seasonal work, conscription, marriages, and inheritance disputes all sent folks beyond their parish boundaries. You're not looking at backpackers, but neither are you looking at houseplants rooted in mud. Medieval Europe is full of road signs, ferries, tolls, and a brisk trade in Are We There Yet? 5. Women had no public roles. Records skew male because charters and lawsuits do. But that's not the whole world. You'll find guildswomen, brewers, merchants, moneylenders, innkeepers, midwives, nuns running vast estates, and queens who negotiated treaties while their husbands collected shiny hats. Rights varied by region and class, but invisible doesn't mean absent. The economy would have collapsed without women's labor. 6. Droit du Seigneur, the Lord's first knight. It's cinematic, it's scandalous, and it's not a medieval legal practice. You'll see satire, jokes, and much later retellings, but no trustworthy code saying, "Congrats on the wedding, now hand over the bride." The myth survived because it flatters modern people to think we invented decency last Tuesday. Real power abuses existed. This specific one makes better TV than history. 7. Chastity belts were everywhere. Those spiky contraptions are mostly later curios and tourist traps, not standard medieval underwear. The Middle Ages absolutely policed sexuality, but with social surveillance, sermons, and law, not padlocking steel undergarments like a hardware store heist. If you see a belt labeled medieval, check the fine print. It often says 19th century imagination. 8. The church banned science. The classic medieval university, chartered by church authority, taught logic, astronomy, medicine, arithmetic, and more. Debates could get heated and some books got side-eyed, but the overall picture is scholarship, not bonfires. Monasteries preserved texts, scholars argued about Aristotle like it was a contact sport, and a lot of science happened in Latin robes. 9. There were no universities. Bologna, Paris, Oxford, and friends invented degrees, faculties, and the student lost life of staying up too late arguing about metaphysics. Professors were guild members, syllabi existed, exams existed, and yes, procrastination existed. The structure we still use for higher education is a medieval invention that somehow survived group projects. 10. Medieval maps prove they knew nothing. Those big circular mappamundi weren't GPS, they were theology on parchment, a classroom tool placing sacred history on a world diagram. For sailing, pilots used portolan charts with coastlines, wind directions, and compass lines. Judging a classroom map by nautical standards is like complaining your pizza menu isn't a cookbook. 11. Medicine was just charms and leeches. Humors and herbs dominated, sure, but you'll also find hospitals, pharmacies, surgeons, midwives, and anatomical notes copied from Greek and Arabic sources. Results were mixed, so are ours. But it's wrong to downgrade everything to magic and hope. People experimented, observed, recorded, and sometimes improved things. 12. Nothing progressed for 1,000 years. A medieval upgrade list looks like heavy plow, horse collar, water and windmills, mechanical clocks, eyeglasses, paper. These aren't toys. They change food yields, time discipline, eyesight, and information flow. If you can read this comfortably, say thanks to a medieval optician and a patient scribe. 13. Islamic and Byzantine knowledge didn't matter to Europe. Huge chunks of the curriculum, Aristotle, algebra, optics, medicine, returned to Latin classrooms via Arabic and Greek scholars and translation hubs in Spain and Sicily. The learning network was Mediterranean, not fenced by imaginary walls. Ideas ride ships more easily than armies. 14. People slept like us in one 8-hour block. Many households practiced biphasic sleep. First sleep after dusk, a wakeful hour or two, then second sleep till dawn. In the middle came prayer, reading, quiet talk. Yes, also that. The 8-hour industrial sleep block is modern, not medieval default. Your insomnia might just be historically accurate. 15. Witch burnings were a medieval thing. The big witch hunts peak after the Middle Ages, mostly in the 1500s and 1600s. Medieval courts could be brutal without any witch panic, but the bonfire-heavy stereotype belongs to later centuries. Blaming the wrong era fixes nothing and teaches less. 16. Trial by ordeal was everywhere, forever. Ordeals, hot irons, cold water, decline sharply after 1215 when church support is pulled. The legal system pivots toward written proofs, inquests, and juries. Justice gets more procedural and less stick your hand in this and we'll see. Progress can look like paperwork. 17. Divine right of kings is medieval. The big shiny theory is early modern PR. Medieval politics ran on oaths, councils, parliaments, bishops, charters, and bargaining. Kings wanted absolute authority. Nobles wanted lunch. Nobody got everything they wanted, which is how politics works. 18. The Inquisition killed millions. Inquisitorial courts did exist and could punish harshly, but the blockbuster numbers aren't real. Outcomes ranged from penance to prison to execution. Scale and practice varied by place and time. If you want honest history, keep the drama, but drop the inflated body counts. 19. Everyone was illiterate. Overall literacy was lower than today, but climbing, charters, notaries, merchant account books, parish registers, and urban schools cascade across the records. By the late Middle Ages, cities hum with paper, seals, and signatures. The pen got a workout long before the printing press took the night shift. 20. Magna Carta created democracy overnight. In 1215, it was a baronial contract that mostly helped the barons. Centuries of reissues, reinterpretations, and political fights turned it into the icon we celebrate. Day 1. Paperwork. Day 10,000. Symbolism and precedent. That's how constitutional myths grow up. 21. Vikings wore horned helmets. That image is opera costume and 19th century art, not battlefield kit. Archaeology gives us practical helmets, eye guards, and mail. No horns to snag on the nearest doorway. Great for Halloween, terrible for shield walls. 22. Knights couldn't move or stand up once they fell. Late medieval plate was tailored and mobile. Earlier centuries relied on mail. Well-made harness distributes weight so you can fight, ride, climb, and yes, get back up without resembling a stranded turtle. Armor is technology, not a gag prop. 23. Medieval swords weighed 50 pounds. That's a Jimbro fantasy. Working arming swords weigh around 2 to 4 pounds. Even big two-handers typically stay under 8. Parade monsters exist, but battlefield blades were balance tools, not barbells with edges. 24. That spiked ball and chain flail was everywhere. Iconic in games, rare in archaeology. Most finds are maces, spears, and swords. Many chain flails are later showpieces or mislabels. Farmers used grain flails. Knights didn't mane a morning star on a chain like a Saturday cartoon. 25. Castles were greystone dungeons. Your favorite ruin used to glow. Whitewash, paints, banners, tapestries, gardens, fireplaces, glass, color, and comfort where money allowed. Castles combined. Fortress, courthouse, treasury, and home. Pinterest just arrived 700 years late. 26. Black Death doctors wore those creepy beak masks. That costume is mostly 17th century, post-medieval. In the 1340s, you're seeing layered cloth, cloaks, and physicians who look like everyone else, not a Venice cosplay convention. The beak is a later attempt at filtration, not a medieval fashion statement. 27. Medieval diet equals meat and mead. Most calories came from grains and legumes. Fish dominated fast days. Meat tracked status, region, and season. Elite feasts were theater, not daily life. Also, medieval cooks loved spices. Blandness is the modern myth. 28. Trade died after Rome. Networks shifted rather than vanished. Some long-distance lanes shrank, but regional circuits, fairs, monastic markets, and Mediterranean routes revived strongly later. The lights dimmed in places, then new markets flicked on elsewhere. 29. Nothing beautiful was made. Walk into a Gothic cathedral at noon and tell me nothing beautiful happened. Vaults fly, stained glass burns, choirs layer polyphony, manuscripts glow with gold leaf. The Middle Ages built wonders, the weather stripped the paint. You don't need a myth to see it, just daylight. The Middle Ages weren't dark. Our cliches are, next time a fun fact pops up, ask who said it first, and why. Drop your biggest medieval myth in the comments, then subscribe to join Vault 29 for history unsealed.